And so I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. So you don't hear it that much except when I say El Dorado orange. And then you say, orange? What? It's orange. My daughter torments me on a daily basis because she was raised here. But anyway, I'm a Brooklynite, but I've lived here for 25 years. I love it here. I went to college on the East Coast at Brandeis University, which is a small liberal arts school just outside of Boston. And I did my junior year abroad in Munich, Germany. So you guys who are thinking about studying abroad, ask me about that. Got my master's degree in psychology in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University. And then I made my way out to Albuquerque, and I've been here ever since, and I love it. My daughter graduated from Eldo in 2018, and she's now a junior at UNM. And she got sent home from the dorms because of good old COVID. So she's home with us for a little bit. Her wings have been clipped a little, but she's doing well. And she's in the UNM BAMD program, which is a pre-medical program that she loves. So proud mom of an Eldo graduate. And I've been through the whole college thing with the FAFSA and the applications and all that stuff. So not that long ago myself. Let me see if I can successfully share my screen and we'll go through the presentation. Please work, please work. So to be able to show this in a big screen way, I can't really look at my other screen to see if it's working. So would somebody just unmute themselves and say, yes, I can see your presentation?
Yes, I can see the presentation.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, so see the little eagle with the graduation cap? That's going to be you very soon. We actually don't have a graduation date picked out yet. I don't know why APS hasn't announced them, but it'll be sometime in May. So coming up before you know it. And here's a little bit more about how you can reach me. Email's the best. I am working from home, so if you leave me a voicemail, I'll check it once a day. This is my work voicemail. I'm happy if you just would rather leave a voicemail. Great, but I'm really quick on email. And then students and parents who join Remind, I'll show you that in a minute, and you can just text me through Remind. In counseling, we're trying to do some office hours. So most mornings, I'll be in my office hours during that office hour time, and most lunch times whenever I can. Sometimes I cover the counseling department office hours. So you can always try and find me in one of these, but probably just easiest if you email me and say, Ms. Velhagen, can we have an appointment? We'll do that. If you want to know more about me, and probably more than you need to know, I was interviewed a few years ago by this college admission blog, which is actually really cool. They've published a good book and a blog. And here's more about me. And it looks like my head is like turning 360 degrees on my neck. I don't know why, but you can read about me if you want. Then here's ways to stay informed. El Dorado Counseling website has a ton of information, and I send people there all the time. Hopefully you'll bookmark it. I just want you to know, here's every single one of these on the left. And when students look at this on their phones, I think this loads last. So I'm not sure if you all know, there's a different page for each one of these topics. There's a class of 2021 page just for you guys, and I'll keep adding stuff to it as I get it. Things about how do I order my transcript and what's the timing of everything this year. Some other stuff on here. So that's just one of these website links, and I'll be showing you some more, but just know that this exists. And hopefully you're getting school messenger emails. One of our principals, Paul Burrows, sends those out, and he sent one today with a reminder about this event, and then I send them through Synergy, and I also sent one today with a reminder about this event. If you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I never get any emails, You're probably wrong. Your email is wrong in our system. And so this is the lady to contact. She's our 12th grade secretary. Just say, I haven't been getting, I haven't been getting emails. And she'll get your correct email address in there. We do have an Instagram. We do have a Twitter. Here is Remind. If you're not getting text from me, and I sent one at about 4:30 today with a reminder about this event. So if you're not getting them and you want to, you sign up by last name, parents and students, and you just have to text this message to this number. And this is on the front page of the counseling website too, if you don't want to come back to this. Students, do you have any idea what this thing is? I'm not going to tell you. You can ask your parents later. Okay. Why? How do I make this go away? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm sorry. Okay. So maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, but there's all these statistics on why should you even bother going to college? Why not just finish high school, go straight to work? I know sometimes students are done and feel like they want to break from school. As you can see, sorry, I don't want to hover there and knock off the numbers, but this is weekly earnings, typical weekly earnings, and you can see how far up it jumps if you go from your high school diploma to your associate's degree, to your bachelor's, to a graduate degree. So just you make more money and you have less chance of being unemployed. So some reasons to keep on going to school. And man, with COVID and all the changes in our economy, if you can stay in school as long as you can, I'm all for that. All right. So college, how do you decide where to apply? Some of you may know exactly where you're going, but a lot of you may still be searching and trying to figure it out. You don't have to decide until college decision day, which is May 1st, traditionally. So that's when colleges expect to hear from you. So you're going to apply to the schools that you apply to. Maybe it's a bunch of them. You're going to get your decisions. You're going to get your financial aid offers. And then you're going to sit down with your family and say, let's make a decision. May 1st is the latest that you want to do that. Okay. What are your non-negotiables? Size of the school. Are you cool with 30,000 students like at UNM? Do you want, like where I went to college, it was smaller than my high school. It was, I think, 3,500 students. It was really small. What's the location? Are you happy to stay close to home? Do you want to get far enough away that you can come home on weekends, but you have your own space? Are you looking to go straight across the country? It's really important to figure that out. And do you need to be near skiing? Do you need to be near the beach? What is going to make you happy for 4 years of your life? Okay. The cost, huge. I should probably put that star first. But of course, college can be super expensive. It's a huge decision. You got to factor that in. What programs do they have? Do they have the major you want? What are their opportunities and activities? Basically, what do you need from a college to feel like it's a good fit for you? So even if you're thinking of staying close to home, and even if you're like, I'm good, I grew up here, I want to go to UNM, I'm comfortable there, or CNM, I want to stay in town, fine, but go visit. At least walk around the campus. I know it's COVID and it's not easy, but some schools are still doing visits and probably will. Make sure that you're comfortable wherever you end up in school. I always recommend doing a visit if it's at all possible and learning more about the school. So we have some of you that I see here tonight have already come to some of our college visits that we're doing on Zoom. You'll find them on the counseling website listed on the main page. Here's the list so far. Today we had UNM come at 2:15. CNM's coming this week, UNM's BAMD program, and then we have these others still coming. And schools contact me all the time, so I'll be adding more and putting it on here, and then I send out remind texts to let you know. To sign up, students just click on this link, and please, you got to put in all this basic info, and I will be emailing you the link to get on the Zoom meeting after you register. So give me a good email address, and you'll see there's just a bunch of visits on here. Okay. There have been a couple of college fairs. You may have gotten my emails about them. There were a couple last week or a week ago. There's one more coming up, and this is the one that's usually at the convention center that I help organize. I don't know if anybody's been to it in the past, but you can mark your calendar October 14th, 6 p.m. And there will be, you have to register so you can get linked in because it's virtual, but you can see. Oops. I want the exhibitors. It's interesting. I was looking at it earlier this week and it looked different. I don't know what's going on, but here's the names of the schools. From New Mexico Tech to University of Michigan, Carleton in Minnesota, UC Denver, Western. It's a really wide variety of schools. So I encourage you to check this out if you're still shopping and you want to go to a college fair. You'll be able to just bop around to tables where you can talk to the reps, ask about their schools, their programs, just like an in-person college fair. Then lots of colleges are doing virtual visitation days and special programs. I just heard from New Mexico State this morning. If you go to their website, they're doing some virtual Aggie visitation days, and they actually are allowing campus visits. It's just you have to make a reservation, and they're doing them socially distanced and careful, but they are doing them. UNM has for example, their engineering program is doing some virtual program expos. So if you have a school that you're curious about, go to their website and see what they're offering. And they all have virtual tours where you can see what their campuses look like and their dorms look like if you can't get there in person. Whoops. Search engines. So if you really want to have, if your mind's pretty open and you just really want to research schools across the country, this is on my counseling website. There's a page called College Resources, College Info, and there's all kinds of search tools. Students like this one, Big Future, where, just as an example, because there's lots of them, but you can sign in, create an account, and search by all of these factors. Hey, I want a school that's really tiny. I want a school that's all women, just an all women's school, etc. And it'll narrow it down and bring up a bunch of schools that you might want to consider. You can add them to your list. You can look up more details about them. So that's Big Future, and that's just one example of all of these college searches. Some of my students really like CapEx, this one. And this is another one. It's called Unigo, and it's like Yelp or something. Students rate their own colleges, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But I found it kind of interesting when I looked up where I went to school, and you can look at students, like there's tons of info here, but then if you look under reviews, you can see what the current students are saying about it. Like, what's it really like? Are the professors accessible? Are students friendly? Is the food terrible in the dining hall? So you can look up schools this way. I think it's kind of fun. That's called Unigo. All these links are on the counseling website. Then old school, there's books. Fisk Guide is my favorite college book. That's what's holding up my laptop right now, so it can be high up. It's a big old fat one. It gives you detailed info about any college you might want to know about. Colleges that change lives. Some of our students love them. They're really small, and diverse schools across the country that you might want to check out. You could just, if you want to mask up and go into a bookstore and look around for the college books, that could be fun, or order them on Amazon. WUI, we're going to talk about this more. These are schools that are very popular with our students because there's discounted tuition. I'll talk about that in a minute. So our in-state schools. All right, as I was typing this, I said colleges and universities, and I said, do people really know what the difference is? So a college just has undergraduate degrees. You go there, you get your bachelor's degree, you leave. A university has graduate programs. You can get a master's or maybe a PhD. That's the fun fact. That's the difference between a college and a university. So right now, all of our in-state schools are free to apply. So even if your search is still ongoing and you're like, I might go out of state, I might stay in state, I highly recommend just apply to everywhere that you're considering. Make sure you have an in-state backup plan, even if you are bound and determined to go out of state. Okay, pick a New Mexico school to go to, because you never know what happens with money or COVID or your plans. Just have some place for sure that's close to home where you could end up. You just apply on each college's website. A lot of people have done it already. UNM, you just go to their website and at the end you click pay later and they won't charge you. New Mexico State, if you want to apply and make it free, you need to contact our rep, Jackie, and just email me and I'll give you her info, but she'll waive the fee. New Mexico Tech is free. Eastern, CNM, all our schools are free. So sometimes college applications are 25 to 75 bucks. So apply while they're free. All of our in-state schools, the applications are so easy. You don't write a recommendation. I mean, you don't need a recommendation. You don't write an essay. It's like, it takes you 10 minutes. The next step, so you do your online application. You send your official transcript to the college via this website, Parchment. And I have a link to it on the counseling website. You have to do a few steps and create an account, and it's a little annoying, I'll be honest. But when you get to the thing that says create your profile and it's asking you, what's my GPA? What do I want to study? You could skip that. Just do everything you can to skip over that. There are some things that are optional. So you'll get to the point where you create an account and then you can select any college and send them your transcript for free from here. So you're applying to college this fall and you're sending your transcript, and it's going to be, all it's going to have on it is the first 6 semesters, right? It's going to have through the end of junior year. And that's what colleges are expecting to see. Now, if they're not happy with your grades, or if you have a great semester this semester and you want to send your transcript again in January when it's updated, great, you can go in and send it again. But for now, you should be just sending the transcript as it looks now. ACT and SAT, many colleges have gone test optional for admissions and they're not requiring them. You probably know this by now, but you may still want to take them. You may be taking the SAT at El Dorado in October, or you may have signed up for ACT or SAT somewhere else in town. Great. It can only help. It may help you with scholarships. It will help you get placed into classes once you get to college. They sometimes base class placements on your test scores. So take them, send them if you like your scores when you do get them, send them to the colleges. And you do that from your account, your ACT account or your SAT account. For in-state schools, you'll get your decisions super quickly, like a week or 2 weeks. They usually send you something in the real mail. So look for that. And they also email you. And students, I said, this means you, because I know students don't always check their email. When you apply to college, give them a personal email, not your like El Dorado one that has your student ID number. Do a personal email that you'll check and you can use after you graduate. Okay? Even though once you're admitted to a college and you're going there, you'll have your own email address at that college. But I'd say use a personal email for your applications and check your email frequently this year, because colleges and scholarship agencies, that's how they communicate with you. We still have some virtual visits coming up with CNM on the 1st. New Mexico Highlands is about to set a time to come visit us. We already had state and tech and UNM come, but if you students didn't get to come to those and you have questions for me about those schools, or if you want me to put you in touch with our representative from those schools, just email me. UNM is coming to do an event on October 15th where they just walk you through the application. If you'd rather have, it's free, like they'll waive the fee. If you'd rather have some help with the application, just sign up for this. It's that same link on the counseling website for all college visits. Talked a little bit about this. It's limited what you can do on campus with visits, but go check out college websites to visit them. Other updates for COVID, UNM has gone test optional. Just today, they announced they're going test optional for scholarships as well as admissions. And we've all been waiting for that info because we needed to know that. And they haven't updated their page yet. I'll show you later what it looks like. We'll talk about scholarships later, but that's big news. New Mexico State is also test optional for scholarships. UNM is using your unweighted GPA, which is a controversial decision. They're not looking at your weighted GPA. That's what they're doing. New Mexico State will look at your weighted. Eastern is also test optional. New Mexico Tech, they're not. They require ACT or SAT to get in and for scholarships. CNM and Highlands, they don't care about testing. All right, a little more about CNM. If you're interested, you'll apply online. It's a little early now to apply for next year, so check their website. Even if you're taking CNM dual credit classes, you still need to reapply as a college freshman. It's open admission, no requirements other than a high school diploma. They don't want your transcript, so just apply online and that's all you do. The other thing you do is complete the FAFSA, and we're going to talk about that. Got to apply before March 1st and complete the FAFSA so you can get their best scholarships. At CNM, their first semester scholarship is called the Bridge, and it covers everything, full tuition and fees. And after, we're going to talk about how the lottery works in a minute, but you basically go to CNM for free. They have a new scholarship they've announced called the Opportunity, and this also covers all tuition and fees for all two-year college programs in New Mexico. And so you have to be a full-time student and earn a 2.5 GPA. That's the same exact requirements to get the lottery and keep the lottery. I'm trying to find more info because this is brand new on how the Opportunity is different from the Bridge, which also covers full tuition and requires those same. So if you're interested in CNM, sign up to come to their visit on October 1st, and the rep will explain the difference between these. But basically, CNM is free. If you're living at home and you get their Bridge and Lottery scholarship, you do the FAFSA, and maybe you get some financial aid from the FAFSA, which is government money, and then any other scholarships you get. Sometimes students find they're getting a rebate check. The financial aid department at CNM will actually issue you a check and say, here's your extra money. So that's pretty crazy. Some of our students like to start off at CNM with the intention of transferring to finish their bachelor's degree at UNM or any other school in state. It's a very popular choice. You do 2 years at CNM. You save a lot of money. You take your lottery scholarship with you because the lottery lasts for 7 semesters. So if you use it for 3 at CNM, you got 4 left to use at UNM. It's a smaller environment. You get a little more attention from the professors. Some students find that's a really nice transition from high school to CNM and then to a 4-year college. It's not for everyone. Uh-oh, is there a phone call? Sorry, I can't see. I hope that's just not me.
Someone might be calling into the meeting, so you need to go back to the meet and accept them into the meeting.
Yeah, you know what I have? Thanks for saying that. I have this optional
Jennifer Yin.
Oh, good. You're right. They joined. Awesome. Okay. Let me go back. All right. So if we're not on the CNM page, somebody please say we're not on the CNM page. So UNM has a program called Gateway, where if students apply to UNM and they don't quite have the credentials to be admitted, often UNM will say, hey, do the Gateway, start at CNM, we'll accept you provisionally, but we want you to go to CNM for 2 years, get your 24 credits, and then transfer into UNM. Those students can still live on the UNM campus if they want, they can work out in the Lobo gym, but they take all their classes at CNM, and that's a path that some of our students really like. Students who are thinking of going down to New Mexico State, there's a similar pathway with the Aggies, where you start at Doña Ana and then transfer to NMSU. So just want you all to know these are some options. Official transcripts, I showed you Parchment already. Skip the profile. An exception is the Common App and the Coalition app, and I'll talk about those when we talk about out-of-state colleges. But on those, students will work with me or their school counselor to upload their transcript directly to those applications. So you guys who are applying out of state on these, you can skip the whole Parchment routine for these schools. CNM, New Mexico State, they don't want transcripts now. NMSU is doing this self-reporting thing. You just self-report what your GPA is and your test scores if you have them. And then when you, if you're admitted and you decide you want to go there, they'll ask you for them later. When you do decide what college you're going to go to in May or whenever, close to graduation, you're going to order something called your final transcript. And it just goes to the one college that you chose. And they require that to see proof that you graduated. So before you leave in May, I'm going to bug you to remember to order your final transcript from Parchment. And if you ever need an unofficial transcript just to look at your grades, just ask me, I'll send it to you or your counselor. Schools in the Southwest, these are just from doing this job for a long, long time. These are schools and deals that our students really like. Texas Tech, they will give you in-state tuition if you qualify for even their most basic scholarship, which many of you will. So go look at their website, look at their scholarships, and see what it'll take to get in-state tuition plus an excellent scholarship. So students find Texas Tech to be very affordable. It's an excellent school, lots of programs. This is one that fits in the large school category. But we have probably 10 students a year go there from El Dorado, something like that. They're coming soon, so you can sign up on that same college visit site if you want to talk to Tech. Fort Lewis in Durango, they have a deal, New Mexico Reciprocal, where they basically give us in-state tuition, plus some excellent scholarships. If Native American students get free tuition there, it's amazing. NAU, another really popular school, they'll give you the WUI, which we'll look at, plus an academic scholarship, either the blue or gold. It's $4,000 or $5,000 a year on top of this discount. They're coming soon, so sign up for them if you want. And Adams State up in Alamosa, Colorado, they give in-state tuition to our students. And there may be some other deals, especially with COVID happening. Colleges are really hustling to offer opportunities to students, and they know people are tending to stay closer to home right now with everything going on. So you might check if there are other schools in the Southwest you're interested in. Go look at their websites and see what they offer for New Mexico students. So let's take a minute to look at WUI. And it's a very weird name. WUI stands for Western Undergraduate Exchange. It is a consortium of schools in the West and the Southwest that give us sweet deals, basically. It's 150% of what an in-state person would pay. So let's say you want to go to Colorado and you want to get your bachelor's degree in somebody's going to join us. Let's, oh, great, I picked one that doesn't exist. All right, animal sciences. We all know Colorado State is known for their veterinary programs, or pre-vet kids know this. So CSU pops up. With the WUI, this is what you'd pay for tuition. Hopefully this is the right. Look at the top left here. Through WUI, you're saving $9,778 a year. I'm just going to mute somebody who came in. Let me do that. All right. So, sorry, didn't mean to go to that. Okay, we wanted WUI. CSU, you're saving almost $10,000 a year. If you didn't get this WUI, this is what you'd be paying, the non-resident tuition, $28,000 a year. Now this WUI doesn't affect room and board, it doesn't dip into that, but it's just tuition, so the cost of classes, and the average savings is between $9,000 and $10,000 a year. So if you are looking out of state, check out the WUI schools, take a look at their website. It's everywhere from west of us, north of us, all the way to Alaska and Hawaii. And if you're interested in any of those states, look around the WUI website. Some schools will stack WUI rate plus an academic scholarship. One I know of is UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. They will kind of give you both. But many schools like Colorado State, they'll just, if they give you the WUI, then you're not going to get the presidential, which is pretty much, they're pretty close to the same amount of money. You're just going to get one or the other. Some colleges on WUI, all you have to do is be from New Mexico, because we're part of that consortium, and they will automatically give you the rate, and it's easy. Some, you have to have a particular GPA, maybe test scores. You have to maybe fill out an application. So you students who are looking at WUI schools, and I recommend that you do put some on your list, take a look at what it takes on each college's website for their WUI requirements. All right. So this is for my students who are not into the traditional college, don't want to do even a 2-year at CNM, don't want to do a 4-year college program. They just want to get specialized training, get out to work, maybe rather work with hands-on training. There are a lot of really good opportunities. And these are the students, I don't want you guys to think that there's nothing for you. Oh, there's no college for me because I just don't fit into that mold. So first of all, CNM has amazing programs, and we just talked about how cheap it is. They have everything from the trades to business, culinary, amazing program. I'm not going to talk up the beer brewing program, but they do have one. Everything from education, health. They have a deep dive coding program where you can learn to be a coder. So please, for you guys who are thinking, I know I need to do something, but not the traditional route, please look at programs like CNM. Department of Workforce Solutions also has amazing apprenticeships where you learn and get paid on the job. And there's all of these links on the counseling website: apprenticeships, learn to do the trades. These are really good careers with good money that are hiring these days, where you can be paid to learn. So that's the CNM boot camp if you're really into techie stuff. This is amazing. I don't know if this will appeal to anybody, but court reporting, you know, if you see an old-fashioned movie and the person is sitting in the court taking notes, that is still a field, and it's a dying field. But so they need people. Young people aren't training to do it, but El Paso Community College has a program for it. If you're fast because you grew up texting, you can go do a limited training program here, and get work doing court reporting, and also like subtitle captioning, like when you're on Netflix and you see the captions, somebody types those, and sometimes they're really bad. I don't know about you, but I think I could do a better job sometimes on those. But that's a career. This is just an example of all the possible careers that don't take traditional like 4-year college degree. Okay, automotive careers, culinary. I'm adding more and more to this web page, but I wanted students to know that these are some options. Okay, and then here we have a career resources page where I do want to tell seniors, I'm getting you access to this career assessment called U Science. We don't have a login for it yet, but sometime this year you're going to do it, and it's so cool. I did it myself, and it will really open your eyes about what could be a good match for you for careers. So we're going to get you logins as soon as we can. We're partnering with this company. And then if you want to look up any type of salaries, like, you know, if you're debating between a couple of different careers and you want to make really good money. So there's all these links here for what you can look up. You could look up occupations with what they call a bright outlook, rapid growth, right? Nobody wants to be unemployed during COVID or any time. So here's a quick way to find jobs that are growing, right? Nursing, acupuncture, you could poke people, that'd be cool. Nursing is always good, but maybe you haven't thought of some of these other fields to go into. So these are growing fields. You can do a search. I've sat down with students and we've searched, do I want to be a dental assistant or a dental hygienist? And we'll look up the differences, and you can search on this site for things like those stats. Here you can take a career quiz if you want to. Lots more resources here. This one's really fun to watch people's careers. They're little documentaries about really unusual and interesting jobs. It could be inspiring. So check this out. Trying to talk so quickly and get through this for you. Okay, so out-of-state schools. Just check the website for every single college you're considering applying to. Sometimes their application's just right there on the site. Sometimes they want you to use these applications, Common App or Coalition App. These are hundreds of colleges partner with these applications to take your application. So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you're applying to one of these 909 colleges that accepts the common application, you can just create an account and do 1 application. You're going to write 1 essay. You're going to here, just looking up, these are all the Texas schools that you can apply to through common applications. So say you're applying to Texas Tech and Texas Christian, you might as well do it on Common App. Colorado schools, whoops. 10 colleges in Colorado that accept the Common App. Okay, so there's also some really cool resources for parents on here, reading about all of these issues, paying for college, family resources, how you can support your student. I like Common App a lot. Now students, and same with Coalition App, students who are applying to these, contact me so I know you're doing it, because there's a counselor recommendation that's part of it, and there are teacher recommendations that are part of it, and you have to know what you're doing with these. Timing. So this is for out-of-state schools. You need to know what are their options. Again, this is on their website under admissions. So a lot of people like to apply early action. It means you're applying earlier than their typical deadline. It's usually November for the early. You get your decision earlier, and you may have an advantage. Colleges say they appreciate when students apply early. It kind of shows you have your act together. You got it all in. It shows you're motivated. And I'm hearing during COVID, colleges like this more and more because they're anxious to fill their spots early on and kind of find out where they stand with this year's incoming class in 2021. So if you're ready to apply to schools and you can get everything done by November, I like early action. Early decision, this is dangerous potentially because it's what's called binding. So if you apply to a school, there are a lot of Ivy League and very selective schools that will only let you use early decision. So they're like, well, if you want to come to our school, if we're going to let you in, you better commit to coming here. So it's considered binding. If it turns out later they give you your financial aid package and you just can't afford it, you can wiggle out of it, but it's not for messing around with. So I did have a student last year, her dream school, she knew what her dream school was. She applied early decision, she got in and she went, and she had the finances to be able to do it. So that, think long and hard about that. But regular decision is your typical way of applying. A lot of times it's a January deadline, could be December, January, February for a lot of out-of-state schools, and that's just fine. A lot of students like to wait till then, have their time to work on their essays, get their recommendations. Maybe you want your transcript to look even better at the end of this year, so you're hoping for a January application, so maybe your GPA is even better. That's when you're looking at regular decision. And then rolling admissions is what happens at UNM and all of our in-state schools and at many state schools, like big public schools. You apply, whenever you get it done, they process it, they let you know your decision, they mail you your decision. It's just ongoing. So a lot of our schools that students apply to are rolling. And again, you can ask me about any of this when you're doing your college list. Out of state. So if it's applications like Common App where you need to have an essay, you want to have somebody you trust proofread it. Don't just spell check it and send it in. Oh, please. Okay. You can ask your English teacher. You can ask me. You can ask your family, your friends who are really great writers. You're going to write it yourself. Nobody's helping you, but have someone look over it and give you suggestions. People always ask me, like, what am I supposed to write in my essay? So you want to sound like yourself. The number one thing colleges say is don't try to sound like somebody you're not. Don't try to sound super, highfalutin. Like your writing should flow. It should sound natural. It should sound like yourself. All of these college applications have different prompts. So try a few different ones. You may have picked one and you may be writing your essay and thinking, I don't like how this sounds. It's not coming along. Switch prompts. Essays that worked, there's a link on the counseling website under college resources that has some essays that worked from schools like Johns Hopkins and some excellent colleges. Read a few if you want to get inspiration. Also, I've told students who are stuck in their essays, sometimes you want to come back to that first sentence. Like everybody thinks the first sentence has to grab you, and yeah, it does. It has to grab you. The college reps are taking super quick time to read through your application, right? But maybe start in the middle. Maybe start with the conclusion and you work your way back. You don't want to get stuck in your essay. Just be flexible. If it's a school that requires letters of rec, what I like when students ask me for them is to see your resume so I know what you've been involved in. I'd love it, and teachers would too, I think, to see a list of the schools you're interested in, what the deadlines are, and why you like those schools. Like, why are we helping you? Why are we recommending you for these schools? What appeals to you about them? Like, what are your interests? What do you plan to study? If you know. If you don't know what your major is going to be, by the way, that's perfectly normal and fine. But let the teacher or me or your counselor, whoever's writing these recommendations, give them as much info as you can so they can do a good job writing your letter. Okay, they're writing lots of them and they want to see what makes you stand out. Pick somebody who knows you well and is going to say nice things about you. Some colleges want to see letters from a core teacher, one of your core subjects instead of an elective. It depends on the school. See what they are looking for. And definitely give at least 3 weeks notice. People are super busy. The same teachers get asked all the time to write recommendations. I get asked to write 1 million. So please give people time and say thank you after. Okay. All right, the money. So paying for college. Here's the different types of aid. Grants and scholarships, you don't pay back, so they're the best. Work study, you can get a job on campus, and I'll tell you how you apply for these. Loans, only if you choose to do that and it's a family decision, you'll get to that if you need to. Every college has something on their website called a net price calculator. It's required by law that colleges put those on there. So you can play around and look for that. It should really give you a sense of what's it really going to cost to go to that school, so you can try to budget for yourself. I like this summary of the kinds of financial aid that are out there if you want to read more about it when you have time. This is actually on the FAFSA website, and we're going to talk about the FAFSA in a minute, but how does financial aid work? These are the different types of aid which you can qualify for potentially by filling out the FAFSA. And so I won't go into this too much, but I want you to know this is a helpful link. FAFSA opens on October 1st, I'm sorry, and it's just this week. I was going to say you could estimate your aid, but just don't even mess with that. You're just going to fill out the FAFSA really, really soon, and we'll know very soon if you got any aid for your student that way. So FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And I'm going to jump ahead to this slide and then go back. So this is what the FAFSA is. It opens every year on October 1st, and you do it for the year that you're about to start college. So when you log into it, it's going to say, hi, welcome to the FAFSA. What year are you doing this for? And you're going to say 21, 22, right? Because that's when your kid is going to be a freshman. So you're going to do that. You have to do it every year that your student is going to be a college student. So you'll do it again next October when they're looking to be a sophomore. Okay, so that's how the FAFSA works. There are different deadlines for it. It opens in October. You could theoretically do it all year long, but different colleges have different priority deadlines and they want it in before then. So UNM's is always the first Friday in January. Northern Arizona University has a very early one in the fall. So look at your schools, see what their priority deadlines are. Sitting down and doing the FAFSA, it's not fun because it's all about taxes and numbers, but it's free. And if you have all your info handy, it shouldn't take more than an hour, maybe less. What you need, you're going to go to the FAFSA website and look for the list of everything to have handy, but it's basically taxes from your prior year. So it gets sticky here. Your student is going to be a freshman in 2021. So going back prior, 2019 is the taxes the FAFSA wants to see. So, and hopefully you have those done. So you're going to fill out the FAFSA using your 2019 taxes. Now, I know a lot of people's financial situation has changed since then. 2020 has knocked us for a loop. Fine. There's no way around it. You have to put in your 2019 taxes and submit the FAFSA, but then you contact the college and you say, hey, I was laid off during COVID, or hey, my income was cut, or I was furloughed, or whatever is going on. They're human. They will talk to you and listen to you in the financial aid departments and see if there's anything they can do. We're having some help sessions once a month on Mondays, where if you can totally do the FAFSA on your own. It's really, you can do it from home. You can contact me if you have questions, but there are some folks we partner with in the community, all the high schools do, and they're having one help session a month. This is posted, it'll be in the slideshow that you get, but it's also posted on the counseling website under the news. Here's a checklist. You can scan what you need to have ready. There is a scholarship that students can enter here, and then you join the Zoom link on any one of these days, and there'll be people who help you with the FAFSA. Colleges also, their financial aid departments are happy to help you. FAFSA has a hotline you can call and a live chat on the site. If you get stuck while you're working on it, you can ask questions. Students do need to be a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen, which is like refugees and students with a green card and certain students with certain types of residency can fill out the FAFSA. Parents don't have to have, even though the parents sign the FAFSA, they don't have to have a social security number as long as the student does. Contact me separately if that affects your family. Undocumented students, if you are not an eligible non-citizen, you can't get federal student aid if you don't have a social security number, but you can get state aid. There is a law that New Mexico colleges cannot refuse you the lottery scholarship or any other state aid. So talk to me about that privately if you'd like to. There's an amazing place at UNM, El Centro de la Raza, and they will help students who have questions, or maybe parents who are not comfortable dealing with the FAFSA. They will talk to students who want to go to any college, and they're really great, and it's a safe place to talk. So that's the FAFSA. I get a lot of questions about, well, like our family's complicated, like we're divorced and I'm remarried, but he's not. And so with FAFSA, the bottom line is, in the case of divorce, the student is supposed to list the parent who they live with and who supports them more of the time. So if it's kind of joint custody, but I'm really at mom's house 75% of the time, I should be putting down mom. If there's any question about it, you can ask me, but it's probably best to call the chat line on the FAFSA site and tell them your situation. You can do it anonymously and just say, I'm not sure what to put down. Okay, back to the FSA ID. So this is really the first step with applying for the FAFSA. You have to get an ID using your social security number so that the government can process your FAFSA. So the student needs one. You create it, it takes maybe 15 minutes. You come up with all these like security questions like what color is your dog and whatever. And write it somewhere, text it to yourself, write it down, because you use this every year. And I know I forget mine and I have to do it every year for my daughter. So put it somewhere where you're going to remember it. The student needs one, and then one parent needs one too, because that's how you sign the FAFSA. Parent, if you already did the FAFSA for an older student, or you're doing one for an older student, just reuse that one. That's your one ID that you need. If you are signing up for new ones, don't use the same email address, parent and student. That will mess everything up. It has to be two separate emails. So go ahead and do this now, even though FAFSA doesn't open till Thursday or whatever's October 1st. Do your ID right away, and then you'll have it. And then when you get to the FAFSA itself, you're going to have your ID ready. The FAFSA really, this is what it looks like. You're going to start a new one. And once you send it in, you'll have your results in like 48 hours. You just check your email. You're looking for an email from like FSA or FAFSA or government, something like that. And you'll have your results. You'll see if you get any money. It won't let me go any farther, but you can see this is starting a new FAFSA. You're going to put in your FSA ID and password. You're going to click next, and it's going to say what year, and you're going to make sure to say 2020, 21 to 22. You're picking your freshman year dates. That's FAFSA. Okay, and it's free, and don't go to any place but FAFSA.gov, that one I showed you. There are some like FAFSA.com, and they're scams, or they'll take your $75 to prepare it for you. There's no need to do that. Just go to the government FAFSA.gov. I know it's 7 o'clock. There's only a little bit left. I'm going to keep going, and then we'll wrap up. CSS profile. This is rare that our students have to do it. It's only for private out-of-state colleges. And it's another financial aid application like the FAFSA. and you fill it out online. It's not free. It's $25 for the first school and then $16 for each school after. If you get fee waivers or you're low income, if you're on free or reduced lunch, ask me about fee waivers, by the way, for college applications, ACT, SAT, profile. I will connect you with fee waivers. But the CSS profile, what I would just do is if your student is applying to out-of-state schools, go to this website and there's a list somewhere of the participating schools. Look them up, make sure none of your schools require it, okay? Because colleges that require it, they do have deadlines and they won't give you financial aid if you don't fill out this thing in time. Scholarships. All right, this is the number one question I get from students. How do I find scholarships? So there's two kinds. Need-based, based on things like your FAFSA, your family's income, right? Merit-based, based on your grades, your test scores, how awesome you are in high school. So just know the difference between those, and when you're searching for scholarships, what are you looking for? Some are a combination of both. Like you have to be an awesome student, but you have to be low income. So some merit-based ones have nothing to do with income at all. And you're just judged on maybe an essay that you write or your GPA. So just know those different kinds. Colleges. So the best money is straight from the colleges themselves. They all offer academic scholarships. Some of these are on specific deadlines. And I'll talk about the lottery and how they all work together. The lottery itself. This is New Mexico only. You can't take the lottery out of state. I talked about it before, how it lasts for 7 semesters. But college is 8 semesters, right? So the first semester before those 7 is often covered by a first semester scholarship that the college offers. So let's talk about the lottery and let's talk about the first semester. So lottery, it starts your second semester only if you have qualified for it during your first semester at a New Mexico college. To qualify, you need a 2.5 GPA. Like we're talking starting off freshman year in college, nothing to do with your high school GPA, just college 2.5, and you have to be a full-time student. So at a 4-year college, that's 15 credits or typically 5 classes. At a 2-year college like CNM, that's 12 credits, so 4 classes. So full-time student, 2.5, boom, you qualify for the lottery scholarship. And what the lottery covers is a percentage of tuition. It depends on the school. And it changes each year because it's voted on by the legislature and how we're doing in New Mexico financially and all that good stuff. So right now, UNM just told me today that the lottery covers about 50% of their tuition and fees. CNM, it covers 100% of them because it's cheaper and the money stretches more there. It depends on what New Mexico school you're looking at, but the lottery covers a portion of your tuition and fees. First semester scholarships like the Opportunity at CNM or New Mexico State or the Bridge at UNM, they all have different names, but it's a first semester scholarship and you just want to be really on top of the deadlines for those. At UNM and New Mexico State, December 1st is a big deadline to qualify for most scholarships. I have another slide about that. But students often are confused about lottery and first semester. So 2 separate things. Now, you might qualify for a higher level scholarship. Say you're applying to UNM and your grades are amazing and you want to shoot for their Regents or their Presidential, their top 2 scholarships. Say you apply for those and you get those, well, the lottery money is wrapped up in there. You're not going to get lottery and the Presidential at UNM. So the higher one takes precedence. But at New Mexico State and New Mexico Tech, both, they will stack the lottery and an academic scholarship. They'll give you both. So it kind of depends on the school. Lobo Promise, this is a new scholarship offer at UNM. And this, I have to say, that's my daughter. She's their poster child right now. She just did this. They did a photo shoot with a bunch of students out on the Johnson Field, and they took her picture. So Lobo First Year Promise. This depends on your income. So it's for first-time freshmen. It's just for the first year, next year. If you want to go to UNM, they will cover your tuition for the first year, tuition and fees. And it's if your family income is 50,000. This is brand new, so I'm just checking. But if you fall into that category and your student wants to go to UNM, they should be able to get free tuition for the first year. So that's just a nice new perk. And private scholarships. So we will take a minute to look for these. On the counseling scholarship page, these are scholarships you can stack on top of whatever the colleges give you, whatever you might qualify for through FAFSA. I just have a huge list here, and you have to just take some time and look through it. I think some of their students' English classes let them have time to work on this. The ones here that are sort of the big description, I try to just put ones down that students have won before, because there are a billion scholarships out there, and sometimes it's just like you write an essay and only one person gets it across the whole country, and it's like, I don't know if it's worth your time. So these are ones that students have applied for and potentially gotten in the past. I'll list them here. On the left side, College Board Opportunity Scholarships. So I think a lot of seniors might have done this already, but you create an account and you like add in like money for it's basically like a drawing. Several students are going to be drawn and win scholarship money, but you get credit for each of these things that you do. If you sign up for the SAT, if you sign up for AP tests, if you do a college search, and it can't hurt students to do one of these, to do that College Board Opportunity. These are search engines here on the left, FastWeb and on down, and they you basically sign yourself up, create an account, you give them a few details about yourself and your email, and they will start emailing you scholarships like on the daily, like tons of them. And, you can just choose if you want to check your email and deal with them. These are some popular websites. Albuquerque Community Foundation, I highly recommend you look at that one. They give local aid, so the odds are good because it's just for New Mexico students, and some are just for Albuquerque. All these others can be very, very helpful. And I just have some others featured. Take some time to scroll through here. And the last thing I'll show you is this. Might look a little hidden, but it's a really detailed scholarship list that somebody's compiling at APS, at the main office, and it's probably the most thorough list you could find. And look at the top one. I don't know if it's loading, but El Dorado is right here, along with another school that shall not be named. But this is the Camilla Rose Scholarship. If you went to Eisenhower and you go to El Dorado, you can apply for this scholarship. So take a peek. We have students win that a lot. We win it more often than La Cueva wins it. So let's see. That's scholarships, and there are lots. So take your time and apply for them. A little bit about testing before we wrap up. ACT. You know that many colleges have gone test optional for admissions. Check with the college of your choice. Some are still deciding about how scholarships are going to work, because usually ACT scores are used for scholarships. But like I said before, UNM just went test optional for scholarships, and so did NMSU. And many other schools are doing that. So just check. Every college has, like, you go to their website and there's all these big COVID updates. And if you if you're applying to a college that does require it, all colleges accept both ACT and SAT. There is no preference anymore. It's different from how it used to be. Students should just take the one that they think they can do best on. We have an ACT page with all the dates and links and registration info. And I have a test prep page, which has tutors and practice tests and some good stuff there. And then fee waivers. So if you're typically on free or reduced lunch, I want you to email me, and I can give you fee waivers for these tests that also covers the cost of sending test scores to the colleges, also covers the cost of out-of-state college applications. So don't be shy about asking me for those. Score reporting. Okay, the student controls it. Say I take the ACT 3 times, I bomb it the first 2 times. I only want the colleges to see my third try. I go into my ACT account. I indicate that. I say I want my September 2020 score to go to X, Y, and Z colleges, and I send them. If you're signing up for the ACT or SAT and paying your cost, they will include up to four free score reports to colleges if you order it before the test happens. Or I think you can go in right after, shortly after, within a few days after the test and say, oh, you know what, I think I did okay. I want to go in and I want to take advantage of those free reports. So I'm going to sign up and send them to my colleges. If not, if you really want to see what your scores look like first, don't send them anywhere yet. You're going to log back in when you decide if you like your scores, and you just pay $13 to send it to a college, $12 for SAT. If you use a fee waiver, it's free. What is super scoring? Okay, some colleges will do this. UNM does it. They take the highest section score from every time you test. So I said I bombed my first 2 times of the ACT, but say I did really well the first time on science, but I just did terrible on everything else. And then second time I did really well on math and terrible on everything else. And then third time I did really well on my reading and my English. So I decide, you know what? I'm going to send all 3. And then the super score schools, they'll be like, oh, good science. Oh, good math. Oh, good reading and English. And they make a new score out of those. And that's always to a student's advantage. So you guys need to know which schools you're applying to do super scoring. And you can just ask them if you can't find it on their website. SAT has these things called subject tests, and they are like 1 hour long on a variety of topics. They're only suggested for highly, highly selective schools like Ivy Leagues. They'll say, we want to see your ACT, we want to see your SAT, and we want to see some subject tests. So if you're applying for those type of schools, think about signing up for SAT subject tests, and you can ask me if you have questions. All right. This is one of the last slides. Difference between the ACT and SAT. ACT has the 4 sections, including science, and you students who are thinking of taking it and haven't yet, it's not, you don't have to be like a science genius. It's reading a lot of graphs and charts. Take a practice test and see what it's like. Some students are scared away from the ACT because they think I'm not good at science, but it's actually, sometimes students are pleasantly surprised by doing well in that section. So there's a 40-minute essay that's optional on both of these tests. The essay is optional and costs a little bit more money. Why would you sign up for it? If the college you're applying to says, we want the ACT or SAT and we want the essay. It's pretty rare. The SAT that we're giving at El Dorado next month, if you got in on that, it does have the essay on it. So ACT, students say, is much more rushed. There's 215 questions in just under 3 hours. And if you look over at the SAT, it's the same amount of time and 154 questions. So a lot of my students think the SAT is less rushed. Sometimes, though, people think the SAT just is harder. The questions, there aren't as many of them, but maybe they're harder. I say take a practice for both of them. There's practice tests linked on the counseling website, ACT page, or you can buy a book and just see what you like, or try them both. And again, you may not need them this cycle. Oh, sorry, I put this in the wrong order. I thought I had a page about this. So December 1st is the very important date for UNM and NMSU if you're applying for scholarships. Their top scholarships do require an application, while some of their lower ones are just automatic. Get really familiar with their scholarship websites. I'm just picking on UNM and NMSU right now because they're our most popular schools and they have that December deadline. UNM, they're supposed to change this any second. I don't know if it's loading for you at the same time as me, but UNM has always required test scores along with GPA for scholarships. So the website still says that, but they are promising they're going to change that. So check soon. You want to look up freshman resident scholarships for UNM. Hopefully in a few days it'll be changed. There will be a link here to the scholarship application for both the Regents and the presidential. Where's the presidential? And the presidential. Those are the two scholarships that require an application. It's some short essays, and for the Regents, which is the full ride scholarship, it requires a video. You have to make a small YouTube video. Just stay on top of this, students. NMSU, they're being awesome and not requiring test scores either. They have, if you look at their scholarship website and you look in the bold, it's 2021 updates of what they're requiring. If you want their top scholarship that pays full tuition and fees, plus a bunch more, you need a 3.8 and higher, and you have to fill out a particular application by December 1st. So you got to be admitted first to these schools before you can fill out their scholarship applications. There's some others. I would take a look at their other scholarships here for NMSU. I mentioned this, UNM does not stack the lottery, but state and tech do. And the lottery will be automatically awarded if that's what you qualify for. You don't have to apply for that. And again, if you have a 2.5 and you're a full-time student, you will just automatically be awarded the lottery. If you drop down below a 2.5, or if you become a part-time student and drop down, or say you don't pass a class, you lose the lottery permanently. Like, they're not playing around with it. So make sure you do what you need to do to keep the lottery. I think this is our last slide. National Student Exchange. I wanted you to know about this. Students who do decide to stay in state and go to UNM or New Mexico State, this is an amazing program. And I talk to students every year about, I kind of wanted to go out of state and have an adventure, but I'm going to stay close to home instead. This is perfect for you guys. I mean, of course, you can study abroad. Every college has study abroad programs. But National Student Exchange has campuses all over the country. And it's like a partner school where you can go for up to a year and you keep paying your inexpensive New Mexico tuition, and you don't lose your scholarships or anything, and you pay that same tuition to go to any of these schools. So people love it. Say you're like, oh, I can't afford California, but I just want to go for a year. And you go to beautiful San Luis Obispo, or, I mean, it depends on what you're majoring in and what school is a good fit for you, but you could go to the Virgin Islands. There's some Canadian schools available. Hawaii is on here. So take a look at National Student Exchange. I've had students who do 1 year abroad and 1 year in National Student Exchange, and you can do that if you work with your advisor and play your cards right. Take a look at that. Honors colleges. I won't take our time anymore, but many big state schools and excellent schools can feel really big and overwhelming. So the whole idea is to find places where you can meet your people and find maybe a smaller group. And honors college is one way to do it. If you're typically taking AP or honors classes, or you're in gifted, if you like that small discussion environment, take a look at the honors colleges at the schools you're applying to. These are just a few. ASU, if anyone's thinking of applying there, their honors college is consistently ranked the best in the country, the Barrett Honors College. That is the end of that. So let me stop sharing. Let me see if I can come back. Where is everybody? There you are. And thanks for making it through that speed PowerPoint with me. What I'll say is, if you want to get going, thank you for being here. I'm so glad you came.